Thank you so much, Aseret. Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday, as I call pre-Friday, Friday Junior. Happy to be here today with you all at the IACAC Transfer Summit. Like Aseret said, my name is Melanie Butron. I am a program manager for the Dream.us organization. Happy to be with you all today. So I'm going to go ahead and start. Okay, so this lovely collage here is just a little bit about myself. It helps with the presentation. So I myself am a dreamer, a undocumented individual born in Quito, Ecuador, which is in South America. I came to Chicago at the tender age of 1 and grew up, graduated from the Chicago public school system. I actually was in NJROTC, where I had the dreams at that point to enlist in the Navy. And just a couple of things about my status and growing up knowing about my status. I always thought that meant that I wasn't able to fly or participate in Radio Disney contests, where, at the end they say only US citizens and residents can enter contests. So that's the adversity or the obstacles that I thought pertaining to being undocumented. Once I was in high school, like I said, I wanted to enlist in the Navy. And this picture, the third picture right here, is with Lieutenant Commander Paul Muffler, who was the first teacher, naval science instructor who I had come out to. And by coming out, I say in terms of my undocumented status, he was so shocked that he actually wanted to adopt me. Which was not possible at that point, but God rest his soul and may he rest in peace. He was the first person that I came out to in terms of my status. But from there, he told me, you are going to attend a community college, do the best you can there, and then you can go anywhere you want, which is what I did. I graduated from one of the city colleges, Wilbur Wright College, where I was involved in everything. And by everything, I mean, I wore the mascot costume. I was involved in there. I was a student worker in the admissions office, transfer office, and the bookstore. I was a student trustee in student government. And so, as you can see, I was involved very heavily in community college. I did a couple of internships, one of which with Senator Durbin, who is a champion of Dreamers. And then from there, graduating from community college, the first in my family. They're my parents, super proud. They themselves have a high school education from their country. So to see their daughter, one of 4, graduate was a very proud moment for them, where I then transferred with the Dream.us scholarship to Northeastern Illinois University, where I obtained my bachelor's degree in business administration in 2019. From then, which doesn't seem that long ago, I've worked in a lot of nonprofits, first being High Tech, where I helped provide scholarships for Hispanic and Latinx students pursuing STEM majors. And now at the Dream.us, where I'm a program manager and I help support their scholarship programs. So that's just a little bit about me and who I am and my identity, and a little bit about my journey through the higher education system. Now I am here to talk to you all about the Dream.us. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Dream.us program is the largest college access and success program for dreamers in the nation. Basically, within our program, we have 4,000 plus scholars enrolled and 1,500 graduates in 16 states, including DC, I being one of those 1,500 graduates. Our goal this year is to award over 1,000 scholarships to this cycle, but overall in the total that we'd like to have over 5,000. Now, a little bit about our scholarship programs, specifically for Chicago Community College Dreamers. Now, our scholarship cycle did open November 1st, and it is closing next Thursday, February 25th. Now that is very soon, but it is still very possible to apply to our scholarship, which then after the deadline, we announce our awards are announced in late April. And specifically for our community college graduates who are graduating this semester or in the summer semester, our scholarship provides up to $31,000 for tuition, fees, books, supplies, all that go towards a bachelor's degree. Now, in terms of our scholarship program, we'd like to emphasize that we are more than a scholarship. The Dream.us is a national community of over 5,000 scholars and graduates. We also provide mental health resources. By that, we mean that we acknowledge that throughout the organization's 8 years of existence, that mental health is something really important for us dreamers or for undocumented students. And so by that, what we do in helping with that is we have a basically like a counselor or like a licensed therapist or psychologist who basically provides her time an hour or so every week open to our scholar community to discuss what's going on in terms of mental health, tips and tricks and resources. And we also have mental health liaisons at our partner colleges, where then we direct them to the resources directly on their campus. We also provide immigration support resources. And by that, we mean in the beginning of the organization in 2013, this scholarship was only available to DACA students. But now it is open to DACA, TPS, and immigration eligible students. Basically meaning those students who were eligible for DACA, but did not apply or were not able to apply because of the Trump administration. Now with that being open for DACA first timers, we're providing them with that financial support in giving them or helping them with that DACA fee to help them obtain that DACA status. In terms of career and mentoring support, we also have partnerships with many organizations such as iMentor, with U Science, Breakthrough Collaborative, where basically we're helping establish that career mentoring and professional goal setting. As dreamers or as undocumented students, it is a very unique process for us or for those students. And so we try to help support with whatever we can in terms of career mentoring and support. In terms of emergency and DACA grants, we are going through an unprecedented time right now through the pandemic. And so with our scholars, we provided an emergency grant amount for them to help out with anything that could be applied to either their schooling, groceries, rent, really any type of relief that we could provide for them during this pandemic. And state and federal advocacy. Because we are one of the largest organizations that provides scholarships for undocumented students, we have staff individuals that basically help with what is the federal advocacy and hopefully implementing a immigration reform and helping out in any way that we can, whether it's with data from our scholars directly or lobbying, anything like that pretty. Now, in terms of partner colleges and eligibility criteria, like I said, here in Illinois, we have a variety of partner colleges. So basically, when a student applies to our scholarship, a community college graduate specifically, these are the universities where they are able to apply our scholarship to. Dominican University, Lewis University, National Louis University, North Park University, Northeastern Illinois University, UIC, and Illinois Tech. In terms of our eligibility criteria, now these are basically pertaining to those students who do not have DACA and TPS. So basically in terms of one, have DACA, TPS, or arrived in the US before November 1, 2015, and otherwise meet that DACA criteria. 2, graduate from a U.S. community college by the end of 2020-21 academic year with a GPA of 3.0 or greater. 3, now this is an important one, have not enrolled in a four-year institution. If a student has obtained credits from a four-year institution prior to attending a community college or graduating from there, then unfortunately they are not eligible for the scholarship. Same goes for those who have graduated and let's say they already started or obtained credits afterwards. They are not, unfortunately, eligible for the scholarship. Number 4, in terms of the eligibility criteria, is be eligible for in-state tuition at a partner college, which here in Illinois, we do have in-state tuition status. So that's a requirement because we are a national scholarship and we have different states. So that is an important one. And 5th, must be admitted to and attend a partner college. A lot of times our applicants ask if they apply to the scholarship, do they have to also apply to the partner college? Yes, please go through that admissions process for whatever university or partner college we have listed here. Now, this is just to really emphasize the importance of the eligibility. Like I said, it is not just for DACA holders, and that is something that we are seeing from a lot of our applicants today. So just to emphasize, an applicant is eligible if 1, they came to the US before they were 16 years old, have continuously lived in the US since November 1, 2015, and have had no lawful status, graduated from a US high school or obtained their DED, and have no significant criminal record and have not posed a risk to national security. Now, these are our national application guidelines in terms of a step-by-step. In terms of determining your eligibility, that's something that we always have applicants refer to our website where they can kind of answer some questions and it'll let them know automatically whether they're eligible or not. Step 2, complete the application. 3, pretty much submit and monitor their status of their application, so on and so forth in terms of award notification, accept the award, and take the Dream.us pledge. Now I'm going to jump into the application overview, but before I do that, are there any questions in the chat or any questions that anybody, any one of the attendees would like to ask so far?
Feel free to send anything through the chat, but I'm not seeing anything right now, Melanie.
Okay, sounds good. So I will go ahead. Application overview. In terms of the information that we ask, it is important to know that we ask personal and immigration eligibility information. One thing we do not require is like a physical address. That's something that the Dream.us is very specific on, especially when it comes to our applicant and scholars data. So when it comes to personal, it's really personal information pertaining to the state, their city, what school they graduated from, and so on and so forth. In terms of academic information, they must select a partner college that they're either accepted into or that they're planning to apply to. And there is a ranking in terms of, okay, let's say Northeastern's my first option, UIC is my second option. They do have that option. And basically in terms of inserting their GPA, ACT and SAT test scores are optional if they want to include that in their application. Now, in terms of financial information, basically just identifying their status, right? Whether they're dependent, independent, what their annual household income is, how many in the household, and if there are any dependents on that income. And basically in terms of, are there any other in the household that will be attending college? Now, this is something a little special in terms of an application. We do take into consideration responsibilities, volunteer, community service, and home responsibilities. I myself as an applicant was kind of like, home responsibilities. I think because I was so used to thinking, oh no, that's just something you do naturally, right? But we do award points to that in terms of being a translator for your family. Let's say if you're the only one. Let's say if you're the only one in your family who has a driver's license and you drive people around, that's a home responsibility. You help babysit your siblings, help them with homework, anything like that. We take that into consideration because um, it's something that kind of is involved in this, I guess, identity, in this persona, and this status per se. Um, so we take that into account. We award points to it because a lot of times those things don't allow some applicants to volunteer or do community service. In terms of our essays, this is probably where bulk of the points are awarded to. We do have 2 essays, max 750 words each. Topic number 1 is educational and career goals, and topic 2 is overcoming adversity. Now, one thing I always suggest in terms of the essays, and I myself as an applicant, when I applied and received this scholarship in 2017, when it comes to the essays, what the selection committee is really looking for in terms of educational and career goals is basically that an applicant is willing to share their story, in the sense that, okay, for example, in mine, I had put that my educational goal is to obtain a bachelor's degree, eventually a doctorate's degree. These are the steps I'm going to do to obtain that. And my career goals are to become the chancellor for City Colleges of Chicago. So that was just like a career goal. I laid out a plan and how I was going to achieve those goals. Now, in terms of topic 2, overcoming adversity, I, as a student, knew, well, as a first generation undocumented student, a female too, I'm going to pretty much face a lot of adversity in the sense of supporting my family, working 3 jobs while attending school full time. So these are the actions and steps that I will be doing to ensure that I can complete my degree and also uphold all those other responsibilities, in addition to facing any type of adversity that may come my way. So just a little bit of insight as to what we're looking for in the essay portion, since it's a very important portion of the application. Supporting documents for high school applicants and/or GED graduates. We ask that they provide official or unofficial high school transcripts showing their grades and their cumulative GPA. A lot of times with this, we get this questions like, do they have to be official or unofficial? And understandably, it takes a little bit longer to take official, but we do take unofficial. So if a student is able to obtain their unofficial, they can upload that, and that's perfectly fine. We will not ask for the official. And same goes for SAT or ACT. It is optional, but if they had taken those tests at any point, they're more than welcome to upload it. Same goes in terms of community college credits earned after high school. Now, by this, high school students are able to obtain college credits through dual enrollment programs. So that will not take them out of the running for the application. They're more than able to still apply if they've obtained any dual credit or college credits through a dual credit program. For our community college graduates, all we ask is they upload an official or unofficial transcript showing their GPA. This is just like an overview timeline of our national application. Like I said, the deadline is approaching February 25th, and the award will be announced in late April. This is a key message that we'd like to tell all of our applicants, is that you belong. And something that is really important, I mean, as for myself, right, as a dreamer, and for other students that I've encountered who are dreamers, is the feeling of that you belong. And as educators or as professionals in this space who work with these students, it's really important to emphasize that message. So when we say that you belong, and we're here to help in any way that we can. We're trying to convince our applicants, that this is to get your college degree, the time is now. I know we're in unprecedented times, but we're seeing that, one, it opens careers, it'll enable them eventually to support themselves and their family, like it did for me. More than likely, if this administration were to pass a DREAM Act, they're more than likely to require a college education. And lastly, and something that my parents raised me with, right, is the notion that no one can take your college education away from you. And so we're here to help in any way that we can in providing that financial relief, being more than a scholarship, and helping dreamers and undocumented students be successful and obtain their degrees. This is one of our scholars, Marisela. She basically said at her graduation to other undocumented scholars, don't let your status stop you from anything. And from personal experience, that is something that can be a little paralyzing. And so as professionals in the space, I always say that having that support from someone like you all in saying, don't let anything stop you from anything, or you belong, or like my high school naval science instructor said, um, keep moving forward. You're not going to let this stop you. So encourage all your students that are or all your undocumented students, truly that you are there to support in any way you can. Are there any questions? I believe we have.
Yes, we have quite a bit, Melanie. So
Oh,
let me
great.
go ahead. Let me go ahead and share some of those with you.
Okay.
Um, one that a couple that kind of sounds similar that came through is how can an institution be added to the partner list, and really just how do we get involved as an institution?
In terms of how colleges get involved to become a partner college, we look at a couple of different factors, and they do have to go through kind of like a rigorous selection process. I am more than happy to forward the email of the president of the Dream.us. But basically what we look for in a college, in a partner college, is one, that the partner college is support, like basically that they support undocumented students. By that, it's whether with, let's say, foundational scholarships, if there's a center dedicated to undocumented students, a director or some sort of staff member dedicated to undocumented students, and more also, I'm sorry, in terms of the scholarships, foundational or institutional. By that, I mean, our scholarship is $33,000 for 2 years. And so depending on the tuition of that university, um, if our scholarship does not cover, let's say, the full tuition of that student or applicant, would the university then say, okay, we've got the rest in endowment or whatever institutional scholarship. So basically we want to make sure if we do establish a partner college relationship, that our applicants who decide to apply there are covered and they have the support they need to be successful in obtaining their degree. So I'm more than happy in the chat to share the email of Candy Marshall, who is the president of the Dream.us. And she is the person to talk to if anyone's interested in becoming a partner college.
Awesome. Thank you, Melanie. Another one that we had a question on, do students have to start at a Chicago community college?
Do they have to start in terms of, they have to graduate from a community college.
Okay.
So I know that can be kind of tricky when it's, let's say, for example, we have a lot of students who attended a 4-year university first. Let's say they did their first semester, second semester, then transferred to a community college to finish and graduate from there. Then unfortunately, they are not eligible. They, in one of the eligibility criteria is they cannot have obtained university credits through a 4-year university. Where versus, let's say, a high school graduate who is applying and they've obtained credits through a dual enrollment program, then they are eligible.
Great, thank you. And another we have, are you, I guess, aware or familiar of other national scholarships for undocumented students other than what's provided that you mentioned? Unfortunately, this individual's college isn't listed as a partner, and just wanting to know what they can do to support students with financial aid in that regard.
For sure. So Other scholarship providers or big scholarship providers for undocumented students, Immigrants Rising. I will put the link in the chat box also. They have a comprehensive list of other scholarships through other organizations that can be applied to undocumented students at whichever universities or for specific majors, anything like that. So that is a list that we provide for any applicant who did not meet our eligibility criteria. So more than happy to do so in that sense. One way, and this is from my own personal experience in terms of how I was able to fund my higher education, was through institutional scholarships, through foundation scholarships of the university, and also being involved. Let's say, for example, in my case, I was involved in student government leadership, and that paid the tuition at my community college. So really just finding other ways like that that can be applied institutionally is my own personal suggestion, but Immigrants Rising is a very good organization that provides other scholarships, and I'm putting that in the chat box right now.
Yeah, any other questions? I mean, this has all been very helpful, and just so that everyone is aware, if you popped in a little later, but this is being recorded, and so we'll go ahead and share that. I'm guessing probably after tomorrow's sessions, and then if there's anything else that you can think of, feel free to send along. And Melanie, we loved hearing your story as well. We'll give it a couple minutes.
Thank you. And I'd love to hear from anyone with their experience with undocumented students or maybe any struggles that they may have. More than happy to kind of jump into that kind of conversation. Or a big thing that I also want to emphasize is imposter syndrome. I myself was this close to not applying for this scholarship because I felt, oh, there are other more deserving students, or this essay, I was not the best essay writer at the time. So I felt imposter syndrome that I rather say goodbye to it before it says goodbye to me. So something that we're even seeing with our applicants now, why should I apply? So if there's anybody out there who has seen their students experience the same thing, then by all means.
We did have a couple come through, Melanie. One is, what does TPS stand for?
That is a good question. TPS stands for Temporary Protective Status. Now, in terms of the specifics for that, I'm not sure in terms of the difference, but basically, it's given to eligible nationals of designated countries. So I know a lot that pertains to countries like Haiti, Guatemala. So it really does depend on that. But I don't really know the specifics as to the overall arching TPS program, but that's what it means, temporary protected status.
And I think we're just having a little technology glitch here, trying to get some of the information you wanted to share. I think we're not seeing it on the through the chat function. So I don't know if that's something that we need to just double check on, if it's being
Okay,
sent to everyone.
let's see. So Candy Marshall was sent to everyone, Candy Marshall's email, and the Immigrants Rising list.
And so let's see. I think they just wanted to know a little bit more information of how to be added as a partner. And I think that was addressed earlier. And can a student graduate from a community college, but then attend a 4-year in a different state?
Yes, they can. So we have what is called an opportunity scholarship. So within our scholarship program, we have 2 scholarships. We have the national one, which is the deadline is next week, and we have opportunity, which the deadline was a couple weeks ago. Now, this scholarship is specifically for those students, undocumented students who live in locked out states. By locked out states, we mean that those states do not offer them in-state tuition, or they're not able to apply to the universities due to their status. So they really have very limited access to higher education in those states. We have about 11 states that we partner with with this scholarship, basically. So let's say, for example, if you're from Georgia, an applicant is from Georgia, and they apply to our Opportunity Scholarship, they have the option to attend school out of state with one of our 4 partner colleges. We have Purdue Online, we have Trinity located in DC, and we have a couple of others in Tennessee and in, I believe, Texas. So basically, those are the students that we're trying to cover that are in like locked out states. And it's a much bigger scholarship because we are requiring them to then go out of state to attend college. So we then provide them assistance with their housing, with their books and tuition.
Thank you. And this next question is great. I think anyone working with students would love to hear from you. What are some effective ways to create a culture of safety and trust for undocumented students who might want or need to share their status with us?
I love that. So something that I didn't mention is when I was obtaining my associate's degree at City Colleges, it took me 4 years and then 2 years at Northeastern. So altogether, 6 years. And in those 6 years, I loved how much the support has grown since I was a freshman to then graduating. One thing that I always suggest is for one to establish allied training sessions within the staff, the advisors, the counselors, the professors, even basically having that overall training session and what it means to be an undocumented student and how to support them. Another way to support or create that overall welcoming support, something we did at Wright College is I created a monarch logo, which then was used as a symbol for the advisors or for the professors, saying that undocumented students are welcome. So even seeing that welcoming symbol is something that is so impactful for students to see and know that they can approach you in whether it's to disclose their status or just in general, they know you're a friendly person to talk to. Other than that, always having the student-led organizations or Dreamers Club is very impactful in that support and creating that community, and having other dreamers find other dreamers. I think it's very easy in this status to think that you're the only one. So to have that support or to be the advisor for that organization is something that can be very impactful.
Thank you. Let's see. I'm gonna try to make sure I have, did I get all the questions? I think there was.
I believe Alex asked if I could provide information to become a partner school. I'll provide it again under your answer. So you would have to reach out to the president of the Dream.us, Candy Marshall. She's the one who handles those requests from our partner colleges. A note that I'd like to share from Shanice, if it's okay. She said that she worked at City Colleges of Chicago when the Monarch was used. So she didn't know it was designed by a student. So that's really nice. Thank you for sharing that, Shanice.
Oh, I didn't know that either. That's awesome. Well, we'll give it a couple more minutes and see if
Sure.
there's anything else that is coming to mind. But really great information, and thank you again for, I really like how you opened it up with your story, and I think that really hits home for those that can either relate or have worked with students that are undocumented. So
Thank you. It's really great to kind of just be on the other side now, and be a professional in helping those who were in a situation like me. So it's very rewarding.
yes. We do have another one. Is the National Scholarship for Illinois students only for the opportunity, or what? Let me see.
Oh,
Make sure I understand this. Okay.
So the National Scholarship is only available to, let's say, yes, in Illinois, the Illinois students are only eligible to apply for the National Scholarship. The Opportunity Scholarship only applies to those applicants who live in locked out states, for example, Georgia, Wisconsin. Um, there are a couple of others, but happy to share the dream.us website. And we provide a very easy, let's say you just put the state that you're in and it tells you automatically which scholarship you're eligible for.
Wonderful. So like mentioned again, this is being recorded, so we'll go ahead and share this information, and keep in mind, we'd love to hear again feedback, any information you can share with Melanie to either improve or whatever it might be, or you wanted to learn a little bit more or a different angle, please share that. That always helps us become better. And don't forget, there's that like social network. Check out that session. It starts at 4. There is another session after this. So feel free to check out the webpage and get a better idea of what's available. We just had another one come through too. Is there someone, ooh, let me get to it. Is there some, let me find this. Is there someone students can reach out to in case they have questions about the scholarship?
Yes, Alex, I have provided my email in the chat box. It's melanie.butron@thedream.us. Please direct all students, applicants, parents. I also speak Spanish, a little Polish, not that much, but really please direct them to us if they have any questions. I believe Holly Herrera, outside of the specific conversation, how can we make folks comfortable to come out to us in regard to their status? And how would you recommend that we support students who come out to us? I love this question. In terms of coming out, there are a couple of ways that I would recommend. A lot of students either will never say anything because we were raised that do not tell anyone at all, that you lie if you have to, but you cannot tell anyone, which is paralyzing. And then you have other students who are just kind of dying to tell anyone who will listen in that sense. And in the case of my teacher, I had to tell him because he was going to enlist me in the Navy without a social. So in that case, I had to say it. And even when I told my college advisor, Chris Alexander, who's now in Wisconsin, I told him out of the opportunity to educate an advisor about what DACA is, what the status is. And so having that person willing to listen in general, because I think students or even sometimes professionals are like, we don't have all the answers, right? And I think as a student, we expect for advisors or professionals to know all the answers. And when you don't, it's really a deciding point whether they will continue to trust advisors or any type of professionals in the space, or if they're just willing to listen. For me, in that moment with Chris Alexander, my advisor, he didn't know all the answers, but he told me, can you tell me what DACA is? Can you explain to me your experience, what trouble you're having? I will listen and I will do my best to gather information or to let my boss know or other advisors and ask them, because I'm sure you're not the only one. So that in itself was so comforting to know, and it made me want to come back. Like, okay, let me see what you have. What have you learned, or just in that in itself. So I always say recommendations is listen when someone does decide to come out to you. It's a very like big deal, and so that kind of that empathy. I myself always tell people that what I'm looking for in a response is never to feel bad for me, I guess I would say. Like, do not feel bad for me or like, oh my gosh, that's horrible. More so like, I don't know where you're going through, but I'm here for you, basically. And that within itself is so impactful. Like, you could probably see them at graduation just in that moment. So that's what I would recommend, Holly. Thank you so much for that question. Let's see.
I think that might, yeah, I think we've addressed everything. So
Good.
Yes. Well, thank you, everyone, and thank you, Melanie. We look forward to being able to connect with you in the future, and thank you for providing that information.
Thank you. And I'm happy to put my LinkedIn information too. I think it's important that we all stay connected and share these ideas. So if you would just allow me a second to put that. And also, this was my first presentation. So I apologize if I did not know all the answers, but very happy to be here with you all. And thank you for wanting to understand more. And please encourage all your students to apply to this golden ticket of an opportunity if they are eligible. So thank you
Yes,
so
yes. And you did fabulous. So good.
much.
Professional already.
So much.
Well, thank you. And we'll go ahead and stop recording.